Hello there. Oh, geez, I went to clean my glasses before I started, and then I still just messed up. All right, everybody. I've begged for questions. I've solicited questions, and here we are at the state of the game. Ask me anything. Holiday 2022 edition. As I try to clear my throat. See, I got my holiday hat on. I'm gonna burn a little time here. Hopefully we'll get some people joining in. If you do and you have a question, shoot it in the chat. I will do my best to read those questions before answering them or engaging because, as I've said elsewhere, I will be stripping out the audio, and putting it up as a podcast for Patreon followers. So, and it's going to go on YouTube where the chat disappears. So, we got one. I've got a few questions in order of when they were asked. And like I said, hopefully we'll get a little more. So, let us not dilly-dally. Let's get right down to business. First up, Mr. McConnell. I'm going to do first names, not last names. Not going to dox anybody. Asked the question we all knew he would ask. Who do I need to talk to get a HeroClix Naruto set made and provide some feedback to the designers during the process? I would imagine God herself, and I don't even know if she can help you. I forget who owns Naruto. Is it? I'm probably saying that in a way that's really white and American, but here I am. If it's the same company as Yu-Gi-Oh, yeah, that's probably it's just never gonna happen. Never say never in the wrestling business. No, never say never. But it's probably, sorry, pal, it ain't gonna happen. And I get it. I get you're passionate, and I get that's why you want feedback. Fan dials are sometimes the worst dials because you're too close to it. So, yeah, maybe say some Hail Marys, maybe throw some incense in the air, and like I said, you're probably still not gonna get much anywhere. That was a good one. That was quick. This video is going swimmingly. Mr. Jeremy asked, how much of a price increase do we need for WizKids to get a quality control department? Now, I know this was tongue-in-cheek and a little sassy. It's not that simple. You have to understand where the errors are coming from. So, once it's produced in the factory, it's done. There's not really anything you can do besides a quick spot check of, hey, is the right sticker on or whatever. And these factories aren't HeroClix factories. Like, they're not dedicated to HeroClix. And HeroClix is a hobby game. It's a very specialized product. So when an Arachnite gets a Super Rare Iron Man sticker on it, the people in the factory don't know or really care why that matters, why that's wrong. So those errors are always going to come through. It's a mass-produced miniatures game. There's not a lot that can be done. WizKids employees can't fly over to China and personally inspect every piece that gets made. It's just logistically impossible. When we talk about production errors. So that's a manufacturing error. That's what I would call that. Arachnite with a Super Rare Iron Man. That's a manufacturing error. Those are going to slip through. It sucks. Really, what should happen is WizKids should make right by that, and that's where they've kind of fallen down. But that's where that goes. When you talk about production errors, there's not really a price you can put on it, because that comes down to people. That comes down to the process and man hours and time. So, we just had Avengers Forever. where we had 4 dials, where the dial on the card doesn't match the dial on the base, and Sentry's point value is off. Not speaking out of turn here, not speaking with specialized super secret knowledge, just understanding how processes work. That all comes down to factory A makes the cards, factory B makes the dials. File revision 3.4 got sent to factory A, and 3.5 got sent to factory B. So you can't, that shouldn't happen, but it's nothing from our end that, like, a quality control department isn't going to fix that unless they're the ones that submit the dials. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, it has to be whoever sends final out needs to be their job. And obviously it's one of their jobs, not necessarily their job. So that's why we're getting those errors slipping through. It's awesome when I do a live video. No one's here. So I know it's meant to be cheeky. I know it's kind of like, it's something that hopefully WizKids realizes is not good for the game and is not good for the product and has corrected. But all it really comes down to is making sure that the person that does that has the time to do it and do it correctly. And if they're rushing sets out or making that person do other jobs not related to that, that's what's going to happen. And it's a HeroClix thing. Like, when they do their D&D minis don't have dials. Those errors cannot happen there because the processes are just different. It's okay. And you still get mistakes. You get manufacturing errors for those. I see people, I see retailers talk about it all the time where the glue on the blister pack, it's bad, or there wasn't enough or whatever, and they're falling off and they have to fix it. That's a manufacturing error. So there's always going to be something. And I know it doesn't help the people that the bad things happen to, but that's why I say, like, at the end of the day, there should be a certain level for quality control, but the bigger issue and the bigger piece and the greater thing that WizKids can have control over is making it right. Is making sure they can supply correct cards, making sure they can supply correct stickers. And there are resources that they can tap that they are not, because I know about them, that would facilitate that. But again, then you have to have somebody who that's their job. Their job is just to fix mistakes. And while we all think that should happen, in my heart of hearts, I don't know why it's not. It's clearly not a priority for them. So I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for that one, or a more joyful answer, I should say. But reality is what it is. Thank you to the one person watching. I'll rip off Aries here. Say something in the chat so I know that it's working. I know it was a really bad Aries. I don't care. Next up, Sean. Two questions. This guy's swinging for the fences. Who do I have to seduce to get more than one DC set a year? Well, we didn't even get a DC set this year. Also, how can legacy cards be made more available to the player base? So let's address DC first. Who do you have to seduce? The licensing manager at DC. He's actually, well, it's probably not the same person. At one point, the person whose job that was actually appeared in a video with Scott Porter. There is a person, and there may be a department, so they may have assistants and other people, of course, because it's a multi-billion-dollar company. But there is a person whose job it is to approve licensed product and manage the licenses that exist at DC. Or persons. They are who decide how many or how few DC sets we get. Somebody else has made this comment. WizKids can pitch set list after set list, set after set, product after product. If DC, as the license holder, says, nah, 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 or if it's just, they're just slow, if they just drag their feet because HeroClix is not a priority to them, they don't see it as a big moneymaker, WizKids hands are tied. There's literally nothing they can do. They, like, whatever their licensing agreement is, and there's a lot of people that say a lot of things that I know it's not, but whatever their licensing agreement is, DC has final say because they are the licensor. Like, that's the power of being the licensor. You get to say up or down at the end of the day, no matter what. Unless, but whatever. But in this case, DC has final say. So if you want more DC sets, you have to convince DC, Warner Brothers Discovery, etc., that it's worth it. So that means you have to buy a lot. And you have to make them see, like, oh man, we can make money off of this. And no one person can do that. Sorry. Like, the numbers you're talking about are considerable. Now, as to, well, then why does Marvel? Marvel's always been more lax. Like, I've been around the horn a few times. Marvel is much more, yeah, sure, whatever. You're going to pay us? Cool. Pay us, whatever, do what you want. They still exert some control. It's not like they're just literally, it's not literally a free-for-all. But they're much more laid back. DC has always been much more about brand management. Again, you can just, in Clix, you can look at it other places too, but just in Clix. When the new 52 was the big thing, what do we get? We got a new 52 set, we got new 52 versions of all the characters. When Rebirth was a thing, what do we get? A Rebirth set, Rebirth versions of all the characters. DC wanted, like, because now we're in this weird space, maybe things will change. They wanted their brand to be in lockstep. They wanted everything to be what it is. And, again, not always best for the fans, not always best for people that, maybe want versions of characters that aren't in vogue right now, but that's the deal. How can legacy cards be made more available to the player base? I think the Avengers Forever Release the OP kit is a great way that you could do it. I don't know why WizKids did it the worst way possible. So, for those that don't know, because not everyone's a crazy person like me, say hi in the chat if you feel like it, if you're able. If you're driving, don't. Eyes on the road. We get the Avengers Forever Release Day OP kit. 5 maps, 3 US agents, just like we always had. Oh hey, and 2 legacy cards, MODOK and Supernova Thor. Awesome. That's great. Legacy cards as prizing is perfect. They tried it with the Fantastic Four OP kit, but that was a whole weird thing, and it just kind of got pushed out the door. Life happens. But cool. This is a great way to get more legacy cards out. What did they do? They included 1 copy of each legacy card. Why? Like, the appeal, the advantage, the benefit to doing legacy cards as prizing is that they're cheaper. You don't have to produce a figure. You're just producing the card. So having 5 of each card should be easy. And the shipping to the distributor and then to the stores would be less because it's less weight. So why do we only get 1 of each? Like, that's... no. I also personally was a fan of the legacy card being included in the Play at Home kit, because that adds value to the Play at Home kit. Like, at that point, you're getting a figure, you're getting a map, and you're getting a legacy card. I know not everyone's on board with that. I thought that was a good way to add value without having to bump up the price of the product. We've seen that the foil packs on bricks, the buy it by the brick incentives, in Avengers Forever had a legacy and a team-up card in them. Okay, cool, great. If you're going to do that, put a legacy and a team-up card in the OP kit. Put team-up card, like, I don't want this to be a card collecting game. It's not, it's a miniatures game. But if we're going to have these things, if we're going to have Batman team-up with 16 legacy cards, put them somewhere else. Put them as prizing. Like that's what you do. That's how you get them out. Because in my opinion, when you look at Batman Team Up, 16 legacy cards is too much. I think you're going to turn off a lot of people that would otherwise try to collect all of them or most of them, and they're just going to be like, whatever. Just walk away, because it's too much. It's 1 per brick, 2 per case, easily duplicated, and I got to collect 16 of these things? Yeah, alright, cool. I'm not going to do that. I mean, Avengers Forever didn't even have that many. And even I got, I want Ursa Major. And even I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll get to it when I get to it. So that's always what you want to do too. When you're creating incentives, you have to be careful to not make them too hard. They want to be attainable. And if they're not attainable, people will just tune it out. And it just becomes white noise. And then people don't think about it. Which honestly is my concern with the construct of the Batman Team Up. But whatever. That's not one of the questions, so we're not going to talk about it. But I don't see them ever. I know a lot of people have floated this idea. I don't see them ever doing booster packs, like trading card packs of the legacy cards. Right now, these are incentives. These are prizing that coincide with the license they have, which is for a miniatures game with character cards. A product that is a booster pack of legacy cards, while not seeming like it's that different, is different and might get them kind of slapped by the licensors. Like, that's not what the deal is. That's not like, we have trading cards. Those go to other people. Other people pay us for those. If you want to pay us for those, you can pay us for those. And that's where like the not fun side of things is where it's like money comes into it. And it's like, no. And that's something that I've known since the last 30 years, since the 90s. Licensing has changed. It used to be much broader because you were just happy that someone wanted to make stuff. And now it's gotten very specific where it's like, well, no. We have a company that pays us to make trading cards. They make trading cards. If you want to make trading cards, you're going to pay us what they pay us, even though you already pay us for this other license. So, but yeah, I would like it. I don't think I'd ever want Legacy in the boosters, because then I think we'd have way too many Legacy cards. I think the buy it by the brick incentive was good. I just think that they're pushing it to have too many in a set. And I think the solution isn't to just have more and more out there. It's to rein in, have fewer legacy cards. Because if we only had 5 to 6 legacy cards to collect, and you could get 1 by buying a brick, or 2 by buying a case, 1 or 2 as a prize, and they're all the same pool, and maybe 1 in the play at home kit, but it was maybe randomized in the play at home kit. Okay, that feels attainable. I support my local venue. I get 2 of them. And those would be static because they'd be prizes. But I support my local venue by playing. I get 2 of them. I buy a case. I have a chance at 2 more. I buy the play at home kit. I get another one. Okay, that's, right there. That's 4. 4 or 5, depending on how much you buy. Out of 6, maybe 8. Like, that's attainable. That's achievable. That's worth the chase. But what do I know? I just have the silly hat on. Now I know how Aries feels when there's no comments. Like, are people talking and it's just not coming through? Ben asked, what do you think of the ways that WizKids reacted to the COVID-19 pandemic? 2020 was a wash. I have no real qualms with anything they did in 2020 because we were all just figuring stuff out. So, hey, you got to do what you got to do. And by the fall, they figured out a way to keep getting product out. Now, people criticized it at the time, and it's a fair criticism of, well, with all this stuff going on, why are you putting out product? And the answer to that is simple. They're a business and they need cash flow. So as long as people kept buying, they were going to keep producing because it keeps the wheels greased. I was a big proponent in 2020 of not having Worlds. I still think that was the right choice in retrospect. I think that would have been, considering how Worlds went this year with other things, I think Worlds would have been a public relations disaster if they had tried to actually do it in 2020. 2021 is a different story. So 2021 is, okay, here's where, this is the world. This is the world as we find it. Some people are still back to work. Some people aren't. We're taking measures. Being a big company, because WizKids isn't a huge company, but they're owned by a big company. Totally get why they didn't do conventions in 2021, because there's risk assessment there. But what they didn't do that they should have done, and I think we're seeing the unfortunate effects of it now, is they should have leaned into community building. So, history lesson to bring you to forward. They would do a Marvel and a DC one. There wasn't any real schedule to them, but it would be like, hey, here's a bunch of characters that maybe we can include in the future in a set. We're going to do a whole multi-month or multi-week, whatever, vote to see who's going to make it into a future set. And there was no guarantee of what set it was going to be, when it was going to happen, whatever. But it was something to do. And it was market research. Like, it showed them, okay, this character didn't win, but man, they got a lot of votes. Or, okay, we thought this character was cool and people liked it, but nobody really seemed to care. It didn't move the needle. Now, and then they just stopped. And I'm sure there's good reasons they stopped doing it as an ongoing thing. But 2021 was the perfect time to do it. Perfect. Whether you literally made the promise, this will come out in a future set, or just said, hey, here's some characters we were thinking about, vote, and we can't promise it, but we'll try to get this, the winner into a future set. And then that's where you have little write-ups. They did it before, where it's like, if people don't understand who these characters are, you do a little write-up, like who the Clix, but shorter, of like, this is who this character is, this is teams they're on, whatever. It creates engagement between the player base and the company and the characters. They could have done giveaways. They could have, I understand 2021 they started like back into production. Life's kind of back to some semblance of normal. So you're not going to spend money via the graphics department to make up things that aren't going to bring you cash. But I can link it to anybody who doesn't know them. There used to be actual one-sheet scenarios that came in some of the kits back in the first 10 years, like early days. That would be like, the Titans Beauty Pageant is the one I always remember because it has such a great name. And it would be these rules and like, this is how this happens. These are the special rules for this scenario and this is how you win. They could have done that. Just something to keep people engaged. The thing I thought of the other night, actually, that would have been really cool, they could have done HeroClix history. Like, so they're doing the free promos through the stores. And we had the Holiday Elf last week, we have Jack Frost this week. Those images, the sheets, the one sheets, really, the cells, include digital sculpts that WizKids has and we don't. Like, I tried to find those digital sculpts when I did my Who the Clix on the holiday figures. I couldn't find them. WizKids has that. I don't know how much WizKids has from its past as far as renders and notes and things, but they have more than I have. They have more than Majestics has. So, like, as much as I could try to do, like, HeroClix history, somebody could have gone through and done, like, posted the original announcement for big figures. For those that don't know, Sinestro and the Sentinel were the original big figures. Colossals, 2x2s, what we know them as now. I years ago I found the article, and I wish I could find it again. They were originally never going to retire. They were always going to be modern legal. They had their own little silly rules. And like I said, they were called big figures. So they could have, somebody within WizKids could have found that, posted that original article or some portion of it, and then explained, in company-friendly speak, how that evolution happened. Well, we wanted them to always be legal in tournaments, but then the decision became like, well, we do need to kind of rotate because it can become too much and become too overbearing for people to keep up with. So we had to kind of go back on that, but it was for the good of the game. And then, then we thought about, I'm trying to think, because I don't know offhand, because I wasn't collecting from convention stuff at the time, but I think Fin Fang Foom was the first 3x6 Colossal. Then we thought, how cool it would be to do Fin Fang Foom, and this is going to be even bigger than the big figs. Well, so now we have to have a different name for it. Like, they could do that. They are uniquely in the position as the company that produces the game to do that. And again, when tournaments aren't happening, when the community kind of turns in on itself because, well, we have to have something to do, that would have been great. Like once a week, once a month, or like don't even promise it. Don't even promise it. Just like, hey, we're going to put these out from time to time and do HeroClix history. Talk about the fact that, because this was talked about in I think the Fan Appreciation, somewhere else. Be like, oh, well, we did Marvel, we did this DC, and then we did the indie set. Turtles was supposed to be one of the first licenses. That was supposed to be one of the original sets, was Turtles. Talk about that. Like, again, it doesn't have to be an expose and all the dirty laundry. But, like, give people a semblance of the history of the game when they can't play the game. Because then what happens is, when you do that, you remind people of all their fond memories of the game. I still have my Sentinel. I have my big figure Sentinel. Never gotten rid of him. Because I love Sentinels. And it's the Ultimates design and whatever. Like, I have a soft spot for that figure. So if you do an article about the big figures, I'll be like, oh yeah, and I'll think about it. And I'll think about all my Sentinels. And yeah, if I'm sitting at home and I can't play, it'll be nice. It'll be positive thoughts about the game rather than, man, I wish I could play right now. The other big thing, and there's a lot to this, but I will keep saying it until my voice goes dead. Not having an online version of HeroClix that is supported by the company and is easy for anyone to pick up and play is the biggest mistake they've made of the last 10 years. I'm not saying, like, I think HeroClix Online could have become something good, but at a certain point, it died. You're not going to get the developer back. You're not going to get those files back. You're not going to start that back up. But a simple interface that can include public domain characters or original creations, or can just literally be stat clicks, will get people into the game. Especially if we can link it to actual real purchases. Again, I have friends that play Magic. I have friends that play Pokemon, the card game. And that's what they, like, that's the feedback they give me, where it's like, my one buddy's like, oh yeah, well, I was able to play online a little bit, and that kind of got me like, oh yeah, I want to play again. Like, that's what you do. You get that itch. Or, I have people that don't live anywhere near me. And if we could go online in an app, which, again, an app costs money to develop, or, a simple website, a simple interface, a simple module on Roll20, even a, quasi-endorsed or fully endorsed module on Tabletop Simulator. If we could just go on there and I could play HeroClix with them, it scratches the itch, helps build the community. The game is a one-on-one game mostly. So you're not going to have a lot of big, where it's like lots of players in and but it's that little thing. It's people leave the game when they can't play the game. People will stick with the game if they feel like they can play it or if they are able to play it. So even if someone's not able to play in person, if they're able to play with a couple buddies online once every 2 weeks or whatever, they're going to feel like they're still part of the game. Maybe they won't buy a brick anymore, but they'll buy a couple boosters. Or they'll buy the Hellfire Gala. That'll be a big, splashy expenditure. That's so. And then this year, I think they should have been a little more proactive with tournaments. Even if so, Origins was always huge for them. Okay, let me walk this back. In the last 7 years, Origins has been very good for them. It's built up its own following. I am one of those people that love going to Origins for HeroClix. Because I don't think they did, and maybe I was wrong because I didn't go to Origins. If they had just said, hey, we're going to run some fun tournaments, it's not going to be nationals or anything, there's going to be limited prizing, but we'll do BRs and tournaments. And maybe, like I said, even it's like some contest. Do a painting contest. I did that at my tournament. Do a painting contest. You release these unpainted miniatures for HeroClix. Do a painting contest. Somebody gets a wave of unpainted miniatures. Simple stuff. And that, to my other point, that's other stuff. But they should still be doing. Like, that's how you create, it doesn't cost them a lot and it creates customer engagement. But yeah, so if they had just said, hey, we're going to do some casual stuff at Origins, I would have been happy to go to Origins. It doesn't have to be nationals. But this year they were late on the PAX Unplugged announcement. They were late on Gen Con, and I think they were late on even, I don't know if they even said whether they were really going to Origins or not. It's just we've kind of had to hunt and seek out this information for ourselves. And this year, I think with everything in place, they did Memphis. Memphis had a good turnout. But what I'll point out is this was technically the second year Memphis happened, because the first one was 2019, and then this year. So I don't know how many people were at Memphis overall, but in the main events like Team Sealed, Worlds, there was about 160 people. That's cool. That's great for like a HeroClix only event. That's still less than Origins had for HeroClix only events. Like Team Sealed at Origins, whether it was Nationals or Worlds or whatever at the time, had 180 to 200 people. Plus so many Battle Royale people. So my point there is not to dog on Worlds. It's the second year they're doing it in Memphis. They're growing it well. My point is you had something in Origins that it looks like they're abandoning. And not what you want to do. So yeah, if I were to lay out a roadmap for 2023, because this is all about COVID, but we're talking about general things. Online play is a must. Online engagement is a must. I would love to see. We had the 20th anniversary and they barely said anything about it. We had a couple sales maybe, and even those they didn't all mention it. So you can't be like, well, they did sales on their store. Yeah, okay, and they weren't all 20th anniversary related. So you had a 20th anniversary set, something so incredibly rare for a miniatures game, and as the company, you just ignored it. It just wasn't like it happened. So, what I would like, if I had my druthers, and I do have time if anyone wants to reach out and recruit me, 2023, do history articles. Do content. Do actual content about HeroClix. Not just, here's the new set. Here's a sale. Actually talk about your game. It shouldn't be everything, but design insight articles. We could have gotten a lot more of those. If people are sitting at home, tell us what you're thinking. Walk us through the process. Create content for your game. Or liaison with the people who are already creating content for your game and give them resources. Because Dial H does great stuff. There's only so much they can do because they're not getting certain things from the company. I try to do what I can. There's only so much I can do because there's literally times where I'm like, I just can't find that. I want to talk about it, but I can't find it, so I can't talk about it. So create content for your game. Bring back fan polls in some form. Do fan polls for a map. Pick a bunch of locations from Marvel, like famous places. I know Marvel's more real world stuff, but whatever. DC, if you're feeling plucky, and create a poll of like, what location would you love to see turned into a map? Or take suggestions. Open up the email. Say, hey, send us 3 ideas. Now, I know HeroClix players don't listen, but, try, guys. Send us 3 ideas of a map you would like to see, and be specific. And then go through and create a poll. Because I want an old-timey pirate ship. I want that. That's one thing we don't have in HeroClix. We've never had a map that's an old-timey pirate ship. We've had opportunities. So create fan polls. Or some kind of poll, some kind of engagement. I know they probably won't because it does cost money. But yes, online. Like, find a way to actually codify online play. It's pretty much died. Roll20 is great for D&D. It's not as great for HeroClix. Tabletop Simulator never caught on. Like, I'm sure there's little communities, and this is not to dismiss them at all, but, online play peaked in 2020 when everyone was sitting home and just figured, why not? And then a lot of us got burned out and did not enjoy it. And personally, like, when you talk about tarot cards, I never want to play an online match with a tarot card deck. I don't. As it exists now, it's not appealing to me. If there was something official where I could literally just click and be like, okay, and it's easy, and it's I can trust it, I don't have to worry if somebody's messing with it, yeah, then I'll play. But I'm not going to play in a Roll20 match with a tarot deck. And that's a me thing. No one else has to feel that way, but that's how I feel. And I feel bad because I feel like it could jinx it, because I feel like that's kind of what happened in 2020. Get us the schedule of conventions you're going to be at as soon as possible. I know comics people. I know that you can know months or a year ahead of time that you're going to be at a convention. So in February, publish your schedule of events. And actually, I'm going to go back to that real quick too. Nationals, foreign nationals, tournaments. I understand they kind of got rushed. I understand there was kind of a reason for that. Take a breath, guys. Like, we went from having no announcement to Canadian Nationals 2 weeks out to then, I know we got Canadian Nationals, UK Nationals, Mexican Nationals, maybe Italian, I'm not sure. I think Singapore was later. Rather than rushing those all out in a month, should have taken time. So make sure this upcoming year, take the time. If you don't want to promote them, if you can't promote them, that's fine. But give them time to promote themselves. Don't say, oh yeah, we'll get this all turned around in 2 weeks. Give them time. Because people can figure things out if they have enough time. People get frustrated when they feel like they're under the gun and they have to rush through things, and then it ends up being a not good experience for everybody. So, as usual, I went into my general philosophy, but that's my answer to the COVID question. I have one more question here, but I do have a comment that has been right in my eye, so I'm going to look at it and acknowledge it. Christian, I think online is a great idea and a smooth interface would do wonders. However, I feel WizKids wouldn't go for it anymore. It honestly needs to be a new developer and new game entirely, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, I don't even know if the company that made HeroClix Online exists. They probably don't, because that's the nature of things. I would not want to build on that module. I'm going to go into here. What I feel the biggest problem with HeroClix Online was it tried to play the game for you. And it ended up, because you're trying to code rules, it ended up being this very wonky, negative experience. The graphics for the time weren't bad, and it felt cool of like, you could choose to go in and like look at the figures, and it was like they're actually fighting. That was all cool, but it tried to do too much. Ideally, and I know this isn't easy, because I know enough about coding to know it's not easy. I would love a Roll20 interface that's made for HeroClix. It's just for HeroClix. And then, like, you know, tarot cards or some of the other things would have their own, you know, spot on the UI. But let me draw and count my line of fire. You know, let me know that I can't draw a line of fire through blocking. Like, make sure that on the maps the blocking is clearly shown, but like, trust the players to know how to play the game they're playing, rather than trying to create a thing that, you know, I mean, at this point we have PDFs of all the rule books, so you could actually, the game could be like, open up this file, this is the rule book, or even quick start rules. But yeah, no, I agree completely. And the graphics were nice, but they're not necessary. Like, so many people play stack clicks anyway. To get it going, you can have it be stack clicks at first. But yeah, I think it is necessary. I think the game is not long for this world if it doesn't move into that space, because I think that's the next logical step in the current world to draw players in. Because these are multi-million-dollar franchise properties, but people aren't searching out the stores that host them, how to find the rules. Like, everything about HeroClix is hard. I said that, you know, I went down to Connecticut, and I said this to Aries after the fact. It shouldn't be this hard for me to just go somewhere and just play HeroClix. Just have fun, play with people that know how the game works, and just hang out. But it is. And it's not a knock on the players. It's people don't know how to get to the win. The win is breaking down. The win is not always responsive as far as answering people's questions. Which PAC do I use? Which rulebook do I use? Which one's legal? Well, this says that, but this says that. And these say this. And they don't all seem to agree. And it's everything's hard. You know, you go on the win. Stores don't list their events on the win, so I don't know where to find a store that sells HeroClix, let alone runs events. Like, the fact that, I mean, this is not meant to be a backhanded compliment, but it's kind of a backhanded compliment. The fact that the game still exists at all is honestly a miracle and a testament to the people that care about it and want to play it. Because this is some labyrinth, backdoor, magical stuff. Like, knock 3 times, and you can play in a HeroClix tournament. Christian, thank you for speaking, Christian. Let's see. I knocked it with my foot. This setup was leaning on me earlier a little bit, so I'm hesitant to mess with the phone too much. So, woo! Okay. Bring up some great points. The game for someone who's been playing since 2019. That's what I like, too. Like, I've been playing for a long time. I like to hear someone more recent is in a weird state. Like, I enjoy the pieces and the dynamics of the recent rules changes and ones to come. With that said, I don't enjoy tarot cards. I don't enjoy the major power creep for cheap point values. I don't enjoy seeing their online presence almost non-existent and hear the horror stories of the customer service. My number one issue is the price hike for all the misprints, broken figures, or little mini details they add to box art and wrappers that would reduce cost if they just didn't do that at all. I'm going to kind of let that sit, because I agree. But it's easy to dismiss the guy that's been around for well over a decade as just being, you know, bitter or out of touch or whatever. The person that's been here for 3 years, seeing all the same things I see and talk about. And it's not to be doom and gloom, it's to be reality. Like, I want the game to be around another 10 years. I want the game to continue coming out. I want the game to continue coming out long enough for me to get more Turtle Clicks, for me to get Space Ghost, for me to get, I'm trying to think, what else do I really want? For McConnell to get his damn Naruto set. I want the game to stick around long enough. But things have to change. You can't just keep saying, like, oh yeah, it'll be great, it'll be fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's a 20-year-old game. Like, the company should be able to do some of these things and handle some of these things. People tell the great stories. And this is before Christian's time. This is before my time as far as customer service goes. Because I was one of those people that just played at home. Like, I was not a venue player when I started. So I didn't know about any of this anyway. Rose. Rose was apparently customer service the first 10 years or whatever. Not literally, but like the first decade. And Rose was the best, from what everyone said. She, like, you send an email in or whatever, she would talk to you. If she saw that something was really bad, she'd throw in extras. She understood what it meant to be in customer service. That's what the game used to be. And now, I see this to horror stories too. People being like, I just get ignored. I've gotten ignored. I say it all the time. I pulled a chase on stream while doing an unboxing that I paid for with my own money, not that was sent. Hey, Justin, not that was sent from WizKids. And the chase had no dial sticker. And I contacted WizKids. And they told me nothing we could do. And that sucks. Like, I'm literally promoting their product because I was doing an unboxing and nothing. Now, I will say, because I've told that story before, there was another booster where I didn't get cards. And this is why I try to tell people to be nice, because what I said was Pyro was a super rare. It was Dark Phoenix. I go, I don't care about the other pieces. I just want the card for Pyro, because he's a super rare, and I don't want to have to track him down. And they sent me the card for Pyro. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all bad. But as a human being, I'm stubborn. I'm loud. I can be obnoxious. So what I always say is, like, here's the things I deal with, and I'm stubborn enough to stick with it and make something happen. How do you think the average player who's a little more casual, who's not as committed to this stuff, feels? They just feel shut out. Yeah. Guess I won't spend money on that again. But anyway, thank you for the engagement, guys. This is what I want. Ask me things. We'll do Sam's question, and then hopefully, because I see people, hopefully we'll get something. Sam, do you think that WizKids will ever attempt to remake older indie sets or make legacy cards for such sets? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. If you're just going to remake... Oh, Scrappy. I'm a little disappointed in Scrappy. We'll talk about that in a minute. If you're just going to remake a set, it's not worth the licensing fee. They did Gears of War, and that was a one-off. Street Fighter will probably never get again, which is sad, because we were going to get a set too, and the Street Fighter sculpts are still some of the best sculpts, and everyone talks about that. So to just redo a set, I don't think they would do it. Like, if they negotiated getting the Turtles license back, we wouldn't get remakes of the sets. We would just get new sets. The true first indie set, that'll never happen again. Because it was a nightmare. And it was honestly a miracle it happened in the first place. Now, some of those things don't exist anymore. Some of those things are now owned by Marvel. I believe CrossGen's owned by Marvel. I could be wrong. But if CrossGen's owned by Marvel, that would actually be a really funny pitch from WizKids. Like, hey, can we make some CrossGen figures? I would love to get a Prime from Malibu. I think that would be amazing. Marvel owns that. So, if we were to get, like, indie set stuff, like, they could conceivably do a Judge Dredd set. I don't know if it makes sense for them, because that, like, again, that comes down to the licensing fee and the production, etc. So I don't know if we'll ever get remakes, and even in that sense of, like, well, these figures were made before. Actually, I cut it off, but you did say something about Hellboy. Hellboy's an interesting one because Hellboy's just been around. You could do, more with Hellboy. But again, it comes down to licensing fee. I would love to see Goon stuff. There's actually going to be a Goon action figure. There's going to be a Tick action figure. But those are so niche that as much as I would love them, I understand why a company looks at it and be like, yeah, we can't do that. That's just not going to happen. It's not in the cards. Sorry. Um, Legacy cards. I cannot guarantee this. This is, again, just me being like, this is how things work from where I sit. If the set is out of license, they're not going to produce legacy cards for it for two reasons. One, they're potentially and probably opening themselves up to litigation because they don't have the license anymore. They can't produce things for it. And especially if you're creating legacy cards for a older set, now the thing I said about like trading cards, now you're really getting into that where it's like, you're going to pay us for a trading card? Additionally, let's say they did the Hellboy action pack and they said, we're going to release legacy cards for that action pack. How are you going to distribute them? They're not going to come out in a Marvel or DC product, and you're not putting out a new product for Hellboy. So, like, I get where it'd be fun. And I would love for it to be feasible. I don't think it'll ever work. Unless unless it gets to the point where, if it gets to the point where they've just decided to release cards and just be a card company, or just have this be a card game, then maybe they could, negotiate a lower licensing fee. But as it sits now, I think the best you'll get are fan legacy cards, which we may start seeing. And it's unfortunate because I think additional licenses are also very important for the health of the game. I think there should be other licenses other than Marvel and DC. I think focusing just on Marvel and DC is, again, a mistake at this point in the game. It's a 20-year-old game. The game grows when you get new eyes on it. You get new eyes on it by putting things out there that they haven't seen before. I mean, hell, okay, I went down to Connecticut. I rented a car to drive down to Connecticut. I went into the car rental place and we're talking. He's like, oh, what are you going to Connecticut for? Oh, my buddy's putting on a tournament for a game. Oh, what game? Clix. I've heard of that game. I've never played it. I don't know what it is, but I've heard of it. Like, I hear it all the time. That was a car rental place. But at conventions, oh yeah, I used to play Clix. Oh yeah, I've heard of Clix. Like, everyone's heard of it. What they need is something to hook them into it. And I'm sorry, another Spider-Man set ain't gonna do it. Batman Team Up has the potential because of Teen Titans and Scooby. There's potential there. But, a new Halo set? Oh, interesting. And that's where, again, we talk about whether that was actually in the online version or not. If people find out, hey, here's this game online, oh, check it out, cool. Oh, there's Halo things? Oh, there's Turtles, or whatever, pick your license, I don't care. Oh, there's Supernatural? That'll never happen. But that's what'll pull them into the game, where you're like, oh, this thing that I care a lot about, but not everybody else does? Yes. Like I said, I've said it multiple times, I'll say it again. People got so excited about Street Fighter, because so many people just played Street Fighter. Alright, hold on. I'm going to go back, Joe. We'll get to you in a minute. Oh, Jesus. Phone, don't you snap out on me. Alright, I'm going to block the camera. Oh, no. This doesn't block the camera. But it's being a jerk. Come on. There we go. Okay. Christian. Woo. Winter Storm in South Carolina that had an amazing setup. Why is it? I hate this so much. And beautiful area to play. I saw they had some newer Clix sets for sale, so I purchased some. I asked if they had a community to play while I was there on vacation. The owner stated the community died 5 years ago, and one guy was trying to grow it, but no luck. People I try to get into complain about three things: price, rules being all over the place, and not being promised a chase in it. We had two newer players purchase bricks who just started 3 to 4 months ago and didn't get a chase in Avengers Forever. The main thing stated was never again, which I would feel the same too. That's tough. The growing the community I completely empathize with. The chase thing is always weird to me because, spoiler alert, when I started playing, there weren't chases. They just didn't exist. I don't know. Maybe they need to guarantee a chase per brick. Maybe. I've always felt that when you talk about guarantees, you should be guaranteed a case should provide a full cur, a full common, uncommon, and rare. So if you buy a chase, you should have one of every common, one of every uncommon, one of every rare. And I think making those pieces more desirable would... Because right now, people don't like that they don't get the chase because the chase is the money. And it doesn't have to be... Like, I played and traded at a time when... And I'm going to do a podcast about this at some point. The old Clix economics versus new Clix economics. Chases, like... Okay. C-Note Superman was a true chase. From Crisis, probably misremembering, but let's go for it. Go with it for the moment. It was like 1 in every 200 boosters that you would pull Earth 2 Superman or Kingdom Come Superman. And it was Kingdom Come? Oh, God. I feel so old that I can't remember this. That when he first came out was like 100, 200, maybe $300. I think it was like 200. And then held his value because he was so rare and so good. And the sculpt looked amazing, and the dial was great, everything. That was an outlier because he was so rare, and you still had so many people buying product. Part of the reason why chases are the money now is because commons and uncommons are trash rares, or trash lands. That's how I keep saying it. And fewer people are buying product. So everyone has to make their money back on the chases. If you actually add value in the lower rarities and make people want those lower rarities, even though they are more common, chase prices will go down to a reasonable level. Like, again, it could still be $100 chase. I mean, King Hyperion was one of the first super rare primes, and he was $120 because he was a killer sculpt, an okay dial, but he was super rare. And now we have regular ass chases that come out and people want $300 or pay $300 for them. That's not good. That's actually bad. Because it creates two things. One, it means not as many people are getting access to the chases, both because they're not buying product and because they can't afford it. And two, it makes people like there, where it's like, well, I didn't pull a chase, so it's garbage. It's not even worth it. It's not what you want. You want people to feel happy about buying sealed product. That's what you want. All right. I gotta scroll. Even though Facebook's going to fight me on this because it's a jerk. Lucifer TV show Gravity Feed. I mean, sure. Doesn't even need to be based on a TV show. Comic was better. It's always tough for me on that because I never watched the show. Because the comic was better. But like, okay, so you have Lucifer. I know you have Michael. I know you have his mother at one point, and then everyone else are cops. Like, so beyond just the brand recognition of it, which may be enough, and I would love to live in a world where HeroClix was a big enough game that just put out Lucifer, just cause. I don't know. I'd rather have Lucifer in a DC set. I mean, Sandman just blew up. I would rather have a Vertigo set, so we get Sandman and Lucifer, and that's what I would rather do, and I think it would be more attainable. All right, Joe. I just wish we had more DC. As much as I'd love to see a licensed introduced game, I want more DC. If we can't get sets, I'd love just a card pack, a DC Legacy card. Go back and watch the video, Joe, because I talked about a bunch of that stuff. I'm going to read your comment. I respect it, and I appreciate it. Just no reason to repeat it. But you do make a lot of sense. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know it's DC. Like I said, the comic was better. Noon Patrol season, most choice? I'm assuming you're just saying it's really good. I'm not trying, just this Facebook's a jerk when I go back. Okay. All right. Let me check my notes. Vertigo, because I said Vertigo. Vertigo is DC. Sandman is Vertigo. Lucifer is Vertigo. They are owned by DC. Now I understand. Now I'm caught up. My brain worked good. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know if anybody else has anything before. I don't even know what time it is. Okay, I've been going for about an hour. Hour's good. New equipment. I'll just talk about some general stuff real quick while people think, and then if I run out of steam, we'll call it a day. New equipment rules. I'm excited to see how they actually shake out, how they're actually finalized. Some things I think there's really one thing that should be removed, but I think it is better. I am still a fan of it. I've talked about it before. I do think it simplifies the game. But on the other hand, there's a lot of characters. Like, I just played the Miss Marvel Rare over the weekend from Avengers Forever. She's going to be ridiculous with the new equipment rules because she gets to change size and get access to all kinds of powers, and she will not lose the effects of her equipment when she does it because she starts as a standard size character. So there's going to be some wrinkles. I am still curious and excited. I don't know if we'll get it with Batman Team Up about what these new terrain rules are. I want to see what that's all about. I know they talked about it at Memphis, but we don't have, much info. We saw some pictures and, they said what they said, but then we're playing the telephone game. Oh boy. Here we go. Yeah. Yes, Christian, I agree. Quality of life. Edison, any Iconics figures you were excited for? For me, that would be Bane breaking the bat. I'm still curious. I want to see how it all shakes out. I'm intrigued. Don't get me wrong. But to your example, Bane breaking the bat looks great. Like, the way I keep describing it is these look like action figure details on a Clix figure. And maybe they're going to be a little bigger, maybe they're not, who knows. But they look great. Because again, I'll remind anybody that's watching this video right now, the pictures we've been seeing of Iconics, like Thanos, Bane, Cyborg Superman, those are figures. Those are actual produced miniatures. They're not digital renders. So what you're looking at is what can be. We'll see when they're produced. But the big thing for me is Bane. Again, go back to Bane. Is it just Bane? Like, if I'm buying it, am I just buying Bane breaking the bat? If so, that's still cool. Like, there's people that'll love it, and it'll be a nice shelf piece. And I think that's what a lot of these are. They're very nice to display. But I want to see almost even more than the dial. I want to see, what am I buying? Hall of Armor. I'm assuming I'm buying all the Iron Men. Okay, so, it's going to be a little pricey. But okay. Death of Superman, with Cyborg, Superman, Superboy. So am I buying all of them? Am I buying them individually? What are we doing here? Right now, based on what we've seen, I'm most excited for the Hall of Armor because I think it's the coolest and I think it's the best expression of what this is supposed to be. Wolverine on the bed. I think it's funny. But I don't know if there's going to be anything around it or if it's literally going to be a peanut base with Wolverine laying on a bed, which is funny and I find funny, but is it what I'm looking for in these? Hall of Armor where I can put other figures in and I can create a little display. Yeah, that's what I want. Bane breaking the bat. Okay, it's just Bane breaking the bat, but it looks cool at least. That's why I'm not that excited about the Spider-Man. Because it's just two Spider-Man pointing at each other. And hey, for everyone that's super excited, bless. Good. I'm happy you're excited. But for me, it's just okay, it's two Spider-Man. All right. Thanos is probably the one I'm least excited for. But that's because I have a colossal Thanos on the altar of death that looks awesome and looks like an action figure. And so, a Thanos snapping with an effect, There's Thanos fans, and I'm happy for them because I'm sure they will enjoy it. It looks great. But like I got the really cool Thanos. Like, and I got the Ultra Shade. Like, I got cool Thanos, so I don't need the Iconics one. I'd love that to become so. I always appreciated the action pack, the Hellboy. Like I said, Hellboy and BPRD action pack. I always thought that was a good product. As far as like, you get a couple figures, you get a map, which I actually bought that map again because I love that map so much on the secondary market. So you get a map, you get some extras. I think it was horror Clix, so we got cards. I think we got some bystanders, technically, maybe some objects. I always thought that was cool. If Iconics is the way to get more of that kind of product again, I am super here for it. Like, oh boy. If we could get a Hellboy Iconics, and that would be really cool, actually. Because it could be, so assuming the licensing fee is worth it, because I know I just talked about it, to have it be a 2-pack of Rasputin and Hellboy, like, up in the air, coming down to punch him with the right hand of doom, that'd be really cool. If we could get an Invincible Iconics, there's some cool stuff you could do there. I think there's potential. It's just, execution. It's all gonna come down to execution. And none of us can know exactly how that's gonna shake out yet. We've already seen that stores are getting restricted on how many Spider-Men they could buy. Maybe that's good, maybe it's bad. We're gonna find out. One way or another, we're gonna find out. But yeah, I'd like I said, sculpts never get weird enough for me. I want sculpts to get weirder. Like, even so, Porter opened Kid Flash Day, and I even kind of had that seems real cartoony. But then I'm like, yeah, but it looks like a different Kid Flash. Like, I've never seen that Kid Flash before. Like, that's, Joe! I would love to see a Marvel and DC Iconics with Superman holding Cap, Shield, and Mjolnir. Wouldn't we all? Guess what's not gonna happen? I try to say that in a funny way because I feel bad, but yeah. I mean, unless the day comes where Disney just says screw it and buys DC from Warner Brothers, then we'll see it. And that would be, as much as I don't want Disney to own everything, that would be glorious just because then we could actually get amalgam Clix, which would be fun. Yeah, I finally read that because the passing of George, and that would, right? On the topic of things to think about, I watched it, I'm like, I want a map that's just Galactus's corpse now. That's the map I want. It's just I can't even think of his name. The bad guy from JLA versus Avengers, where he just takes Galactus's corpse and makes it into this it was Galactus's corpse. I was confusing it with Crisis. Makes it into this fortress. And I'm like, that'd be a metal map. Not metal like DC, but actually cool metal. No. But yeah, that would be, there's so many maps we could get that I would love. But that's just dreaming, baby. California dreaming. All right. I think I appreciate you showing up, Jay. It'll be there, don't worry. But I appreciate you showing up. I tried. We had some good talk, so I mean, that's what I was about to say. Unless somebody else has something they want to add or ask or whatever. Doesn't even have to be HeroClix. You just ask me. That was part of what I was going for. Krona, thank you. Yes, Joe, it was Krona. Because then he goes into the egg, and then the egg comes back in Trinity, because I remember my DC buddy being like, it's the egg from JLA versus Avengers! Oh my god! Because people get excited about things. How dare they? But yeah, no. Unless anybody... But that's what I was trying to do, is you could just ask anything. You could ask about the site, you could ask about Turtles, you could ask about The meaning of life. I don't know. But no, we got an hour in. This was good. Appreciate everybody who showed up. I know a bunch of them left, so maybe you'll come back and watch this later. But any opportunity I get to just stare into a ring of light while I talk at people is great. I'm sure it's driving you guys nuts because it's in my glasses and I can't not see it. But I'm like, I need to be lit. Look at this beautiful. You need to be like this. All right. Now you know I'm done because I'm doing voices and shtick. I'm hungry. I think I'm gonna go eat. Thank you. ClixNexus starts Wednesday. Gonna have a post up explaining how to enter. Blah 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 blah. There we go. Enjoy Call of Duty, sir. Shoot things. Shoot things with the utmost accuracy. Post gonna be explaining it. Have good holidays. I hope it's warm. I hope you get everything you ever wanted. I hope you get everything you deserve. And more. I hope you get more than you deserve. You know what? That's true. I hope you get more than you deserve. And yeah. Till next time. Do good.